Hello. Sorry about that. I did the same thing that I usually do, which is start the countdown and then start clicking and playing with settings, appearances and things like that because I'm a fucking idiot. And I have no idea how to announce a TV, announce a TV. See? I have no idea how to even start videos and streams. Hi. Welcome to my rambles. I'm extra ADD today. Like, it's crazy. Anyway, let's hope that this works. So, something weird's going on. I talked about this yesterday, okay? Something very fucking weird is happening. And again, it's not that weird when you know, sorry, I'm just clicking, right? Because I needed to check the title because I went through a few. Okay, so yesterday I went to the shops. Everything was crazy. Everyone's lost their minds, right? One thing that I forgot to tell you about the lady at the bakery, which made me laugh, because she's like Chinese and well, presumably Chinese. I think she is, because there's yeah. Anyway, don't fucking at me, okay? I know the difference. I assume that she's Chinese, but I could be wrong. Anyway, she was funny because she said, and I'm going to get in trouble for this impression, but she basically, it was the funniest thing because she's sitting there in the bakery and she goes, they all go mental. Everyone go mental. And that really just sums it up. They've all gone mental. Okay, it's funny. So anyway, I wasn't going to talk about this fucking toilet paper thing, but I just want to talk about it just for my own, just for the historical record on this channel that this happened. Okay, and what we're seeing now is that secondary effect, which is that all of the sensible people like you and me, presumably you and me, okay, are now sitting there going, shit, we should probably buy some toilet paper because everyone else is buying up the toilet paper. Okay, it's that sort of secondary effect with this panic buy, right, that catches even reasonable people. And I have to confess something to you all, YouTube. After my video yesterday, I knew, again, this is a rational thing, okay? It's not coming from an irrational place, which was that I then went, oh, shit. If everyone else is losing their minds because I understand how economics works, that means that there's going to be, a run on toilet paper, so to speak. It means that the price will probably go up. If you understand basic economics, that with supply and demand, the price is likely to go up, okay? So we better buy low. So I did something which I've actually been planning to do for a while, which was subscribe to Who Gives a Crap, which they are how first world 2020 can you get where there's a subscription toilet paper service? But at the same time, it's forest friendly, as forest friendly as you can be. It's toilet paper and it also helps the developing world. So there is some, I've been meaning to sign up for them for some time where you subscribe to toilet paper. I went and got a subscription. Don't at me. I just, it's not because I'm worried. It's because it's something that I hadn't thought about, and I figured that it'd be difficult and annoying and hard, and that's the knock-on effect of a panic, which is that the black market economy that forms around these sorts of things, which is very interesting as well. Anyway, my brain is not working today, so I apologize if I'm waffling. I had a client meeting where watching me change gears, right? I was getting ready to go on stream. Watching my brain have to change gears because I have ADHD and am autistic. Sometimes if I'm ready and primed and, because I do have to get psychologically ready to be on a stream, but sometimes you get a client call and she was asking me about that project that I'm working on this afternoon, and it was funny because I have to shift gears, and basically, speaking of diarrhea, I can't, it takes me a while to shift gears, so it's very funny anyway. And now I've got to shift back into this. So thank you for your patience. Anyway, I don't know if anyone's watching. This is just a fucking whatever. It's an excuse to do a stream. It's stupid and it's funny. And I'm just going to show you some of the funny jokes because not everyone who watches my stream is on Twitter. Some of them are, not Twitter, but some of the great, so some fucking hilarious jokes. And that's the beauty of Australia, I think, is one of the things that we're good at is laughing at dickheads. And that's why I find this so weird because, again, I talked about this yesterday, which is that this is this frenzied buying and panic buying. It is something that has largely been America that go through all of this stuff, right? You guys are fucking weaponized consumers, right? You can be whipped into a frenzy at will and you will just like fear buy whatever, right? That's just part, it's in the fabric of your nation is consumption. And again, it's not a bad thing, right? It's just there are cultural differences between Australia and America. And this really highlights a lot of that, which I find absolutely fascinating to the point where I'm actually thinking that because I'm this far from having to submit my thesis topic, I'm actually thinking of switching my thesis topic to this issue because it is actually fascinating and I want to diagnose what's going on. But I just thought it was very funny. It's funny, it's ludicrous, but it's actually extremely interesting. So what I've been trying to do is find sort of tweet zero or article zero or media zero where how on earth this happened. Because at the moment we're living in the sort of the disinformation age. And my initial reflex yesterday, as if you saw my stream, you'll know that my initial reflex was this is just marketing. It's easy, right? You go in, you frenzy up a bunch of people who are susceptible to these types of things. You drive demand, and it's very, it's accidentally clever. Even if it's not a conspiracy, but it would be a very clever move if someone had done this deliberately, right? So in terms of a guerrilla marketing, this would actually be very, very clever if. It's funny. It's people, again, it's not just the toilet paper thing. You either laugh at the ridiculousness that we find ourselves in, and I'm actually more and more thinking that what we are seeing is the collapsing of the American empire. A big call, but I'm actually seeing it. I think that a lot of the signals are there that we're seeing a great empire self-destruct. But what they're doing is taking everyone with them. And that's the thing that I just wanted to talk about. That's why the title of today's stream, which was, the American mind virus, right? America sharts and the world gets the stink. And that is, it's a bit inflammatory, to be honest. But at the same time, I think there are some valid points to make about the news cycle, how America dominates the news cycle. What we've seen in the last 24 hours is that the Australian Associated Press are now closing down in June, which is an absolute travesty for journalism, Australian journalism in particular, because what we're seeing is, and this saw this fucking happening, right? Which was that early days of the internet, it was fun. The Americans crashed the internet. They took over like they do. Again, I love you, America. I want to write on Facebook this morning. I might even screen share it with you because I think it's a valid point, which is this idea that it's Americentrism is the concept, right? There's a number of different concepts, but Americentrism, which is the idea that America is the default and that nothing else matters outside of American thinking. And what I'm finding frustrating, because it is Super Tuesday as well, and the American presidential debates are dominating Twitter, right? American tech companies are dominating fucking everything. They are, you know, American thinking and mindset and parenting. Woke culture has come out of American parenting. Okay, it's a phenomenon of American, you know, neoliberal fucking, you know, all of those sorts of ridiculously Puritan and overly PC fucking parenting, right? Again, I'm not going to get into this. It started with like the smacking debate and those sorts of things where there was a big cultural divide, you know, and I've observed this. Okay, it's good being it's great. Do you know what? Do you know what's wonderful about aging, right? Is that excuse me, and this is why the okay boomer thing bothers me so much, because the most wonderful thing about aging is that you start to live through things. That sounded, you like live through things, man. It sounded very profound. No, I'm saying what you do is you start to gather experiences and perspectives, but you also start to get enough data to see patterns, but you get to see history unfold in real time. And every single generation has some sort of great unfolding movement or history that is only really valuable in hindsight. And for Gen X, I really feel that what we really are going to have to be the elders, the level-headed elders who try to fucking fix some of this stuff, right? We've been largely ignored, right? The war between millennials and boomers is just fucking insane. And Gen X are getting forgotten, right? Gen Xers are in their 50s, by the way, right? We are now the middle age. We are now the people in the senior positions. We're now the people who but we also have enough life experience and we've got older kids, all those things. So it's just, that's what I love so much about sort of aging. I know I joked yesterday about not being necessarily invested in living, but that sounded very nihilistic, but there is something, just if you're young and worried about getting older, don't worry about getting older. Getting older is actually wonderful because you get to just see things unfold. You get to see the world through your kids' eyes. You get to learn lessons about how you treated your own parents and, you know, and heal over those sorts of things. You get to see politics. You get to see cycles. You get to see patterns. If you are living your life with open eyes, right? I know I kind of got weirdly spiritual here, but I'm just saying it's fucking fantastic, right? And what we should be doing, and this is also because I've been thinking about the way that people have been talking about the presidential candidates, like, oh, they're too old to lead. No, I think that what we need to do is inject more, you know, this idea that there is wisdom in age, okay? There is perspective in age. And us being able to, those of us who sort of lived through Y2K, right? We know a thing or two. Because it's happened before. We lived through Bush. We lived through 9/11. We were adults when that happened. We saw this all happen. Okay. Anyway, this is meandering. But let me screen share where I'm at. Okay. So this morning, Woolworths, okay, so is the largest, I think they've got the largest market share, technically speaking, of supermarkets in America. America. Fuck, see? They even get into my fucking sentences. Oh, fucking talk about dominating. Okay. So this is a uniquely... What's weird is that this is a uniquely American behaviour, right? Well, it's a human behaviour, but amplified by American culture. But it's crazy. I have no real fucking smart take on this. But anyway, I woke up and I went through Twitter and fucking toilet paper gate hashtag has been trending all fucking morning and it's great. I'll go through some of these. But the fact that Woolworths have now overnight implemented a 4-packet limit on toilet paper to ensure more customers can access stock. The vast majority of products in our range remain available and we're working hard with our suppliers to ramp up production and deliveries to restock shelves ASAP. Now, okay. And I'm sitting there going, okay, what the fuck? Like yesterday, I just came back. I was like, everyone's lost they've gone bonkers. Okay. But then the next thing is you go, okay, well, why is this happening? Like yesterday, I alluded to the fact that there might have been some sort of disinformation or conspiracy or anything or something like that sort of went round. And because I tend to be in the behavioural profile, Facebook build up a behavioural profile of you. So what's really interesting to me is that I don't get that stuff. But if you look at my my stepfather's feed and a few other people who are a little more they've been profiled as prone to conspiracy theories. I, for some reason, with my behavioural profile, don't tend to get fed that type of information. And that's where it's funny, because I sit there and I go, oh, I'm going to go see what my stepdad's Facebook feed says, because he's ground zero for all of these things, because he gets all of that stuff, right? So he gets all of the like Hillary Muslim conspiracy shit and all of the like One Nation shit and all that sort of stuff. So, but I just thought it was funny, okay, because first of all, I did actually stealthily go and buy toilet paper. I have to confess, I did. Not from the supermarket. It just reminded me that we should probably just. I've been meaning to get the subscription, and I just did anyway. But it's just funny that this is like all the media have been saying, right? And then okay, let's inquire further. So the Financial Review, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the people who are doing this, like ground zero panic buying, are not regular fucking readers of papers like the Fin Review. However, right, toilet paper makers say no need for shopper panic. There isn't. Okay, most of our stuff is made, I think 60% is made here in plants in South Australia. We've got paper mills. There is no problem with supply. There's an article here that says that basically they're used to peaks and wanes in supplies. They will up the production of tissues during flu season, for example, and they're on it, right? There was probably a slight lag because the 40% of I can't believe I'm fucking talking about toilet paper, but the 40% of toilet paper that is sold, that is made in China, is obviously now gone. Why they're taking that off the shelves, I'm not sure. Can anyone answer that question? I'm not sure. Was it there's just that there's a because I know Aldi and a few others don't buy locally. Like a lot of their stuff is produced in China. So that supply chain will be fucked. But that's only 40% of the Australian market. So what happens? But what I find funny is that every single Australian media outlet has said, don't fucking panic. Just keep going, right? And yes, I know, stop, drop and roll, keep calm, carry on, all of that sort of stuff, right? We've been hoodwinked in the past, but at the same time, it's true. Like the facts actually don't line up with this, right? Which is that I don't know how much American toilet paper is made in the US versus China, but I would imagine that the proportion is roughly the same, right? You guys have mills and all that sort of stuff. I imagine that a lot of it was probably made in South America. I don't know, but anyway. So, but it's really interesting, and I'm starting to think about changing my research from Twitter bans to this, because this is a really bizarre phenomenon that I think requires some research. It's there's a symptom of something else that's going on with social media and digital here, which is the spread of like social contagion and mass delusion. And I've been talking about the gender stuff for a while. I'm seeing trends with this, which is mass fucking delusions that are just spreading, flat earths, all these sort of things. And this is just another symptom of that. Anyway, I'm not sure if my words are coming out clearly, but the Fin Review says, I mean, this is where we are. Just when you think that things can't get any weirder, you got the Financial Review, which is a business fucking publication. However you feel about it, it's basically, Fin Review is really good for economics and analysis and stuff, right? The Fin Review is saying it, right? News.com.au is saying, like, why are they panicking, right? This is actually a good article. But what I saw here, I know I'm jumping around, but it's just, Guardian, right? Woolworths moves to ration toilet paper as panic buying empty shelves. All right? Like, nobody is saying, like, and I'm sitting here going, okay, where did this start? And yes, I know that with doomsday prep and all of that sort of stuff, there's a whole, I think there's sort of apocalypse porn culture that goes on here, where I think that through culture, and I'll get to that, through these cultural messages, there's a whole lot of people that can't tell the difference between TV and real life, right? Fact and fiction, what they'd like to be true and what is true, okay? Or what we believe to be consensus that is true, okay? What is a hypothesis versus what is a theory? This is actually at the core of what I'm thinking here, which is that sometimes that when people have lost their minds and are presented with facts, they will still behave like truly, emotionally, right? We all know that. All of the people, all the bros who claim that they fucking are more logical, we're not. We're emotional beings, right? Some people rationalize their emotions better and claim that they're logical, but we are mostly emotional beings, right? Actually, there's a book recommendation. If you haven't read it already, Mark Manson's Everything's Fucked, a story about hope, what it's called. He does a really great summary and analysis of where we're at. It's not a heavy read. It's actually a very entertaining read. I really like it. I'm a big fan of books like that really distill a whole bunch of theory and a whole bunch of stuff into one really great read. Surveillance Capitalism is another one that I'm recommending at the moment that distills, what you could learn in a degree, sort of, and come to the same sort of conclusions that I'm coming to. I'm waffling, but in that he does, we're feeling animals, right? And nothing proves that we are emotional beings more than something like this, right? Rational is rationalization. There is a shared truth. There are things that we probably establish as true, but some people are just better at pretending that they're not emotional, not driven by their feelings. Okay, I've been with emotionally stunted men who claim to be only logic when they're actually just an emotional wreck, right? And they hide behind logic. We're still emotional fucking beasts. Side point. Anyway, so they've started rationing toilet paper for the time being. Now, your average person probably goes, all right, well, like me, I went, well, fuck, the price of toilet paper is going to go up, so I better get some. So there's that secondary effect now, which is that I don't want to go, I'm not going to go and buy toilet paper now for weeks because I'm too embarrassed. It's like when my bank was the last bank to have Apple Pay and I didn't know how it worked and I didn't want to go to I don't want to use Apple Pay now because I don't know how it works and I don't want to look stupid because everyone's been using Apple Pay longer than me. It's the same thing. My pride is fucking... Anyway, that was a side point. I'm just saying the same thing's happening with toilet paper. So what I'll do is do what I usually do and avoid everyone by ordering everything, embarrassing shit online. But anyway, I recommend Who Gives a Crap It because they're actually doing good. Regardless of this, they're doing good anyway. So, but what I'm trying to get to my point, which was, where did this fucking start? Okay, and I did ask out on Twitter. I've done a little bit of research. I'd actually really like to know, I'd like to talk to people, someone who actually believes that who rationalize the panic buying, not those of us who are just like, oh shit, everyone's buying the toilet paper. I better get some because that's how the economy works and supply will not meet demand and I don't want to run out, right? I want to talk to someone who's legit fucking in prep mode. Okay, if you know anybody, let me know. I'd love to talk to them because I really just want to understand what they're seeing. First of all, what they're seeing on their social media feeds. And second of all, what gets them there? all right? And also, why toilet paper? Because that's something that I don't get, because in terms of our priorities, right, and I'll show you one of the tweets, but, like, it's just funny. Oh, here we go, hang on. Toilet paper gate, sorry, wrong hashtag. Look, this fucking, where are we? Where's the hierarchy of needs? Did it disappear? Ah, bloody hell, Taya. Where's my bookmarks? Get your shit together. This one. Maslow's hierarchy of needs joke, right? This one made me fucking raw. This is the thing where the comedy kicks in and everyone just there's the 10% of people who just laugh at the apocalypse, and it's funny, but yes. So for those who aren't familiar, this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Normally it would be your basic needs, right? You've got your physiological needs, you've got your safety, love, belonging, self-esteem, self-actualization. But at the very bottom here, we've got toilet paper. Fuck, that cracks me up. It's just very funny. It really sums it up. I don't understand the priorities, because the more that I think about it, I started sitting there. I was talking to Paul last night, because there's just a gap that I don't understand, which is that the premise of toilet paper in the first place relies on running water. And if you have running water, right, and plumbing, there's so many more alternatives that you can use. I said this yesterday, you know, worst comes to worst, you can rip up rags and wash them and, you know, use bleach, run them through the washing machine. And, you know, like, this is where I don't understand. Because bottled water people aren't going nuts for bottled water, which is very weird. Maybe they've already, but correct me if I'm wrong, but there was no bottled water shortage, right? It's just funny that it's just come down to that. But anyway, what was my point? This one is very rambly because I'm extra ADD today. My meds haven't properly kicked in. And anyway, I've got a brain full, because you can tell when I've got a deadline and a series of deadlines, because generally my brain is wandering off into the shit that I've got to do in my to-do list rather than what I'm actually doing. So being present and all that sort of stuff with you. And so anyway, but I looked, and this toilet paper, so this news.com.au article sort of explored it, but they actually did a poll, and I was going, this is very weird. Okay. So toilet paper is trending on social media as panicked shoppers empty shelves in preparation for a virus pandemic, right, in Australia. Again, fine, whatever. Like, this is Costco in Auburn in New Zealand. It's like, note there's a particular outfit and hairstyle, but I'm not going to be classist. But at the same time, like, you fuck it. What are you seeing on Facebook? What are you seeing? I want to know, if you can, with someone who has lost their minds a bit with this prep shit, ask them for me if they can screenshot what article or link or news article or piece of media, what it was that they saw, or what Facebook group, because I want to get to the bottom of where it became about toilet paper. Because at some point the facts, yeah, right? I don't understand, because the facts override any of this, which is that we're fine. Toilet paper is made here for the most part, right? Unless you're going to really Aldi and Costco. Okay. So anyway, so Kimberly-Clark, which manufactures Kleenex toilet paper, which is the major brand. We've got 3 major brands of toilet paper here, which is Kleenex, Sorbent, and what's the other one? Quilton? Is that what they are? And they're made in South Australia, at our paper mill, right? 60% of the entire fucking market, right? That's what I don't get. We're fine. I am trying to avoid jokes like we're all backed up, right? The supply chain's backed up, but, anyway. But again, people just don't. I think I don't understand this. People. Maybe it's just that people don't understand. I think this is an unintended consequence of people being exposed to too little, to superficial understanding of complex information. And I'm seeing this seems to be the common thread. And I don't want to be elitist about it. But most people, right, when presented with, I'm trying to find a common thread, and this is me just making things up on the spot. And this is just a stream, okay? And that's just me thinking that maybe this is the double-edged sword or the side effect of having everybody have access to the same information, which is that you see the word pandemic. Most people who are scientifically literate, even I had to really, you have to be pretty fucking scientifically literate to really understand a lot of the stuff, a lot of the words, right? Now, the problem is that when you have words like epidemic, pandemic, virus, for your average person doesn't understand this stuff, okay? They don't understand what those words mean, okay? They understand what they mean from fucking Law and Order. Like, again, when I hark back to probably second lecture, year 1 of my politics degree, right, where we talked about the idea that most people are disengaged, right? Most people receive all of their world understanding, all of their political understanding, all of their news from, at the time, this is how old I am, this was 1999, but the statistics were that, the vast majority of people receive their news from mainstream media and the 6 o'clock news. And I always assumed that everyone learned what I learned at school, which was that was designed to sell you things, but they also thrive on sensationalism, that they also thrive on fear. And that was something that I was taught and learned, not even at uni, but just in high school. But that was because I was interested in media and journalism and all those sorts of things. And so what's concerning me is how many, that maybe this is just a natural side effect, natural consequence. This is just the way that it is, which is that there's going to be a phenomenon where 10% of the population, right, or 20% of the population, or if you're in America, fucking 70% of the population aren't that literate, okay? And they don't, and when you mean specific words, right, like what I've been talking about with the gender debate, when someone uses the word bigot, someone uses the word Nazi, someone uses the word fascist, someone uses the word authoritarian, someone uses those sorts of words, right? And pandemic fits within that there's going to be a certain segment of the population that only go with what they feel that means rather than what it means. And so maybe there is and this is, again, this is me thinking, this is how all of my thoughts link together. And this is why I'm opposed to jargon, right? And also why I am a big fan of making sure that we explain things in plain language. This is the problem with academia. This is the problem with science. This is the problem with language in general and jargon, which is that what we do is we create a caste system of education where people who, there are those who know what these words mean, and there are people who feel what these words mean, and they aren't necessarily in the know on the details of it. And so this might actually be part of that. And it's why I believe that's why communications and political communications in particular, is so fucking critical, that it is said in plain English, that journalists take the time to make sure that they define things accurately and clearly, and make sure that that is the role of the journalist now, right? It's not this links back to the AAP, right? Which is that real journalism is dying, which means that more people are fucking, going to not know what things are. They get their information through the media, right? So if the media is turning around and not even in an alarmist way, but just using the word pandemic, even if they're using it correctly, there's going to be a portion of the population that freak out and think that we're in The Walking Dead, okay? And I believe, and again, this is not, paternalistic or you know, all of those. I'm not being patronizing when I say it. I'm saying we have an ethical responsibility to make sure that we don't cause panic in people. Okay, I went on a rant not long ago about, well, not long ago, a few days ago. I'm still working on an actual proper video on this for my ethical user experience course that I'm working on. But this idea that no design is human-centered or customer-centered if you're not considering their well-being and their psychological well-being as part of that. Okay, and that's where I've had this debate numerous times with many people, clients and peers alike, which is that, you know, we have a responsibility to do no harm. Okay, I'm going through the ethics process at the moment, pitching my research, and that is at the core of it is that we need to make sure that nobody is harmed psychologically, economically, physically from your actions. And I think that that's where journalism needs to get their shit together and start, you know, I think they've actually done pretty well with this, right? The real threat here is social media and the conspiracy theories. Like, I've gone into some of these things and it's funny, right? All these people that think that there's this vast fucking conspiracy. It's like, no, there's no conspiracy. It's just that governments are useless, not fucking bureaucratic and not prepared. They should be prepared. But I imagine that it's going to be fine, all right? Anyway, there's no conspiracy. If you've tried to lead or implement any kind of project in your life and tried to organise more than 5 people in a room at any given time, let alone on a fucking contentious thing, you know that conspiracies don't happen. You can't it's hard, you can't even get a fucking website up. You know, you can't organise anything, okay? People are, yes. It's a phenomenon. It's more a set of behaviors. It's more a pattern. We're more like ants, right? That move together in a certain way and follow each other in a certain way than we are like fucking, you know, evil aliens. We're less individualistic than we think, and that's the point. Anyway, except for the selfish cunts that go and spy up all the toilet paper. But if you, again, I'm going to make the point, right? If you have all that toilet paper and no gun, and if you have no toilet paper and you have all of the toilet paper and your house isn't secure, you're fucked anyway, okay? When society breaks down, society breaks down. Those who fucking, it is how it is. What we need to do is have a conversation about what is and isn't acceptable behaviour and what is and isn't an asshole, and actually say, you know what? People who buy that much who hoard like that, there's something wrong with how they view the world, right? I would, yeah, if we're in that situation and my neighbours came knocking and they needed some toilet paper, I would give it to them. We need to get back to the cup of sugar. And I sound fucking a million years old, but, you know, there's something to be said for getting back to a society where that cup of sugar thing, right? Talk to your neighbours, right? Befriend your neighbours. Anyway, so, except for the neighbours at my local shopping centre because they're clearly off their fucking tree because they bought up all the toilet paper. Anyway, this is funny. I've fucking wandered off. Anyway, so, but my point is, right, this thinking, right, comes from America. This is an American phenomenon. It's not a coincidence that this is happening look, this is a picture of Costco. Okay? So it's not again, nothing wrong with Costco. I know people who work there. Great fucking company. Wish they were a client. However, okay, they're an American company, right? So that image is more symbolic than most people give it credit for. But, so, Americentrism, okay? America is not the centre of the universe. But okay, where are we? Coronavirus. So this seems to be ground zero for the disinformation in America, okay? Now, people have freaked out about the coronavirus. And there's this misinformation on NBC, okay? US retailers could see some empty shelves by mid-April. All right. Now, the American machine works this well. Okay, they know how to fucking drive fear and get people buying. That's one thing that Americans do great, just like grifting, right? America, they're the grifters nation. I call it, they're also, I tweeted this morning that Americans are the loud chewers of the world. We have to coexist with them, but they're fucking, you know, they just make their presence known and they're fucking annoying. Anyway, so I don't know if anyone's on here, but whatever. So, but basically, yes. But the second they say don't panic, what happens? People panic, okay? But this seems to be a thing, right? So this seems to be where this has really hit. And this is why we need local media. This is why we need the AAP. This is why we need independent journalism. And this is why we need to get back to fucking facts and truth, because this is terrifying, okay? And we need to push back against American dominant culture, because this is an American thing. So, coronavirus has the potential to become a global pandemic, temporarily emptying retail store shelves in the coming months and depressing some consumer-facing businesses, right? So again, it has the potential. This is as muted as it gets. The potential, temporarily, right? There's nothing there, okay? It may happen, mostly because America has outsourced most of its fucking production to China, right? And what I'm hoping is that this would actually might make people stop and think about where their stuff is coming from, okay? You know, and how things are being produced. This is going to cause this is going to devastate China. I hope that they're prepared for this. And I hope that those who are, you know, globalist in their thinking when it comes to economics really do consider that our dependence on China, this is a good conversation to have. Again, not a racist one, an economic one, okay, which is that you never put your eggs all in one basket because of this type of thing, right? That is the reality of globalization, which is that if you become too interdependent on everyone else in the world, that if there is a big world event, a big economic shock or something like this, that, you know, countries can't protect themselves, right? And they can't feed their citizens, they can't feed their people. Now, you know, the fact that everyone's rushing out for toilet paper, that shows that, you know, Australians are in pretty good fucking stead, to be honest with you, right? The fact that our priorities are linked to an assumption that we're going to have running water, that's a good one, because there's a lot of places that won't, okay, still don't have running water, right? And power. Like, there's people that were suggesting that people get bidets, and it's like, no, that's, you know, again, if you don't have power and water, you're fucked, okay? Again, people you need a level head, okay? It's either really fucked, in which case toilet paper is useless, or it's either not fucked, in which case you've got too much toilet paper. That's why it doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, so, but again, this seems to be the thing where there was some alarm spread in America, and obviously through social media, people aren't differentiating between the differences in America and American culture and Australia and Australian culture. Like the fact that we make more of our toilet paper locally, right? I don't know the stats on America, enlighten me. But we don't, you know, we're an island. There's lots of different things, right? But there's lots of reasons why we just... It's so hard to talk about this without just thinking that these toilet paper buyers are the same fuckwits that put shopping carts for the Americans, shopping trolleys backwards and upside down and ruin it for everyone else. They're those fucking cunts. I'm pretty sure that what they did was go to the supermarket, get 2 trolleys, fill it up with toilet paper, and then what they did was they put those trolleys inside out, upside down, back to front, and fucked it up for everyone else. They're all those people. But, you know, selfish people are selfish people. But this seems to be the source of it. But what's funny here is that news.com.au article, right? which is just a 2-week supply, right? I'm seeing people buy a year's supply of toilet paper. And what I love about that is that when this blows over, which it will, right, the toilet paper will sit there as a fucking reminder. Someone said to buy stocks in toilet paper. And I was like, well, you don't get how the markets work, mate, because what's going to happen is that there might be a surge. If you own toilet paper shares right now in paper mills and those sorts of companies, sell your shares now, because 6 months from now, people will still be using the toilet paper that they bought. So there'll actually be a slump in demand. Okay? So don't buy toilet paper shares. Sell them next week. Okay? Sell them in the next few days. You can make your toilet paper, you can make a really shitty fortune. But, you know, again, the thing that I'm concerned about is things that are manufactured in China. I'm worried. My prescription drugs is one that I thought that I should get, because I'm actually at the receiving end of a global recall of a particular drug that I've been on, which is the ranitidine, which is Zantac, right? And you can't get that for a year. So I've been on the receiving end of that already, and I've had to take alternatives that are less effective. So it is good to make sure that you have a stockpile of things like of those sorts of things, right? Interesting that the idea of stockpiling non-prescription drugs when you can't do that because they ask for your license, and also that you need a prescription for Panadine and any codeine products. You can't do that now. So fucking hell, I gotta go to the doctor this week and get my painkillers, and it's just like, oh no, and just whatever. But yeah, again, a lot of these things are just common sense, right? And also, if you don't have them, you're not going to die, right? That's fine. But people aren't paying attention to this. Like, I love the way that people freaked out when they said wash your hands and use hand gel. Like, who doesn't wash their fucking hands already? You're a gross person. If you freaked out and started buying lots of fucking like hand washing shit, then you're not washing your hands enough generally, okay? Anyway, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. But what was interesting here, right, is the news poll. 30,000 people. Yes. So have you stockpiled toilet paper? Yes. Everyone else has, so I thought I should. That's 8% of people. 8% of people who are reading this article, right? Okay. 92% says no, everyone needs to calm down. But I would actually argue that a lot of these people, right, like myself, are still secretly buying toilet paper. I did. I don't know why, but mostly because I know how economics works, right? But that's 30,000 fucking voters, all right? Hang on, let me refresh and see if it's gone up. Where'd it go? Where'd the poll go? 40,000. Here we go. So the numbers are the split's roughly the same, okay? Isn't that fascinating? But anyway, it seems to have started with American. Let's look at American not exceptionalism. They're very different things, but they're related, okay? So Americentrism is this idea that American culture, American ideas, American politics are the default. American exceptionalism is the idea that America is the exception to all of the things that all of social science and all of philosophy, and that they've just gone around and built their own fucking thing and declared them to be self-evident. Okay, so that means that America's special, okay? Some people call it some critics call it American exemptionalism, which I won't go into, which means that they think they're above the fucking rules. But let's not go there. Anyway, these are the concepts that inform that, but I'm not going to bore you because I've talked too long anyway. It's 50 minutes of me just talking crap, and I've got to go and do work. I've got fucking heap of work to do. I'm behind on everything. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about it. I was hoping that people might show up on the chat, but this time of day doesn't seem to be optimal. So I will maybe do something later. Like not later today, but start doing. I need to somehow find the energy to do evening streams or sort of a late afternoon or very early morning, because this time of day seems to be an awkward time of day for time zones and people watching. So it's funny, but also just remember this stuff is American fear, okay, American culture, and we're going to see more of it, all right? Now, also, I just want to talk to you little thing. all right? It's Super Tuesday, right? It's fuck America for just 5 minutes, all right? We've got our own problems. Trump is the best thing to happen to the Morrison government because he dominates the news cycle, okay? All this outrage over what Trump's doing, you know, it's ridiculous. But people are also transferring their outrage at Trump onto the Liberal government, which are, you know, unpalatable at best. But at the same time, we live in a different fucking country. We have different cultural traditions. And, you know, like, it's frustrating to see my culture. And again, we're not a monoculture. I'm just saying, you know, those things those, you know, the fair go. And again, these are all complicated. All right. Don't fucking at me, you stupid assholes. I'm saying that the thing that makes Australia unique, okay, is our general egalitarianism, okay, our general feeling of mateship. Like, we can have an argument about, you know, our history, which is not pleasant, but for the most part, Australians as people, we are direct and honest and swear, and we're quite rude, as you know, but we're good people, and we are more community oriented. And what I'm seeing in the last, you know, this started in the 80s, okay, but it's getting worse, which is this division and this American every man for himself, and the hoarding, right? This hoarding and this consumption and, you know, this batshit fear, okay? We're not like that. Or maybe we are like that now. But social media is dominated by American thoughts, American people, American voices, okay? They're the loud chewers of the fucking internet, all right? Again, if you're American, it's not, you know, I'm speaking in generalities, but I'm just saying, like, I get really fucking annoyed that Americans get to dominate the discourse, but they also dominate the conversation. They dominate our economics. And fuck everything up. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I know that I'm running late, but I'm just fucking whatever. Facebook. Hang on, let me go to Facebook. I changed my profile picture to fucking Mama June too. Hang on a second. Hang on a sec. Where's my rant from this morning? All right, let's go. Let's have a look at this, because I'm going to read it out for you in case you don't see it. Feel free to friend me on Facebook. I've decided to just have it as a fucking befriending everyone. I initially kept it private, but it's just too hard to keep those worlds separate now. But let me just run to screen share, right? Which is, right, today's ongoing peeve. It's actually ongoing peeve. See you, Mama June. Anyway, American dudes who claim that socialists, right, by which they mean those who advocate for government programs, there are actually very few socialists in America, right? They think that a social democrat, which is like anyone who advocates for that, is a socialist, and they're not. It's crazy. Anyway, but this assumption that socialists don't get economics, and what that phrase is what is economics? Economics is the study of different types of economy, right? And how to run the economy, how to do things. It's not. What this guy does is insert neoliberal economics, right, which is a specific type of discipline of economics. So neoliberal economics, which is America as the default, okay? So neoliberal economics is not synonymous with all economics. Economics is a discipline, and socialism and mixed economy and all of those other things, they're also part of the broad school of economics. I get economics, okay? I just disagree with you. So, dude, stop saying that. You don't get socialism or capitalism or economics or the concept of American cultural imperialism, okay? Or that nobody cares about your flapping, yank-splaining mouth and its opinions. Presidential election years are always particularly grating for me, and I've said this. Because what we have is more and more Americans who just run off the mouth loudly, confusing dominance and loudness for correctness. Okay? Here you go. Your economics and imperialism has destroyed the rest of the world, assholes. Your wealth gap is disgusting. Your healthcare is atrocious. Your economics has completely obliterated all personal freedoms, healthcare, privacy, banking, women and children's rights, fucking holidays. Like, we celebrate Halloween in Australia suddenly, right? The internet is dominated by fucking and tech companies, right? University education. This idea that there's the left and the left are fucking anyone who is left of Reagan. No. That's American shit, okay? These aren't defaults, okay? There's a whole other world out there and you are collapsing and you might want to listen. So, anyway, fucking I get off on this. Get off? I don't get off on this. I go off on this, okay? I do get off on it a little bit, anyway. But most of us figured out long ago that social democracy is the is the best approach, and that Keynesian economics and mixed economies are the best compromise, right? Your fucking politics, even AOC's politics with Medicare for all, they are still fucking not socialist, okay? Thank you. Most of us figured out long ago that, neoliberal economics is not the default. America is not the default. America is not even all that great. If you look at all of the fucking metrics, okay, America is bottom of the ladder for fucking happiness, bottom of the ladder for fucking maternity leave, bottom of the fucking ladder for all of these things. You're not that fucking great. And just because you declare it to be self-evident, guys, it's not self-evident, okay? Other people exist. You are the toilet paper hoarding fucks of the world and the loud chewers. I'm so going to get fucking banned for this and harassed. I'm happy that no one gives a fuck about my YouTube channel. But it's true. Like, America just fucks it up for everyone. You're not the default, okay? There's other ways of seeing things. There's other ways of doing things. And you don't have all the answers. And the wokes, despite, again, wokeism is its own distinct ideology, right? They've borrowed from critical theory. But critical theory has some valid points, which is that white male neoliberal fucking waspy shit is not the default way of seeing the world. There are other ways of fucking seeing the world. Okay? Yes, we can test that. We can test that with fucking data. And that's where I go, well, a lot of this stuff needs data, right? And I'm a bit more in the middle in that sense, a bit more reasonable. But, the critical theory crew have a fucking point. You're not the boss of us, right? Get your mind viruses and your fucking, weird fucking culture of fear away from us, because it's destroying our society. It's destroying our journalistic fucking integrity. It's destroying our culture, and it's making fucking everyone lose their minds, and everyone is fucking becoming fucking anyway. This is meant to be funny and short, but it wasn't. But I went into a rant. But fuck. Seriously. All right? You guys were founded on grifting. You're founded on just taking what you want, right? You know better, the UK, that you can't just fucking decide how everyone else sees the world, okay? Start watching less Hollywood shit, okay? Start watching more fucking local content. Listen to women's voices and maybe listen to this woman from Australia for your gender critical fucking, or your interviews and stuff, rather than, Mr. Ordinary Dude in the US who's got opinions, because there's plenty of those, and it's no one in particular. I'm just, if you're one of those dudes, then I love you. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, why are we not watching women's channels? Okay, partially because they rant and ramble for fucking an hour. But anyway, that's a slightly more female style, which is that more stream of consciousness and, having ideas and conversation. Not just pushing their fucking views on people, right? I have a more sort of conversational tone. And if people chat, Freaky Ret Star commented, it's an interesting vid today. I saw that. Thank you very much. That's how I operate. I like to interact, so and have a conversation. Anyway, we need more female voices, okay? And I'm going to start elevating them. Okay. So anyway, whatever. Fucking robber barons. I'm Robin Hood to the robber barons. Although he was a robber. No, I'm not Robin Hood because I don't believe in that either. I don't believe that any means is, that the ends justify the means. I believe that through conversation and connection and shared values, and that if we we love thy enemy and talk to thy enemy, we can move. Conversation and connection and consensus moves mountains. Okay, and that's why people want us divided. That's why billionaires and fucking tech billionaires and governments and big corporations, they want us divided and individualistic. They want us to hate each other because they know exactly how much we have in common, and that's a lot. Okay, and in the event that we do end up out of toilet paper, I would hope that you would come to my door and ask me for some, and I would give you some, right? And that's the view of the world that I hold, which is that there is no need to hoard things because we should help each other out in a crisis. Okay, not just fucking So that's the thing that's actually really disappointed me. I think it makes me angry about this thing. America, like I'm getting teary, which is seeing this in Australia, right? Which is seeing this idea that we don't help each other. It's funny, but it's also very much not funny. It's a symptom of something that I find worrying, and I'm old enough to see what we used to be, and that makes me sad. So I'm going to go do work. I've cried on a video about toilet paper. If only I had some tissues. I have my Trump toilet paper. One sec. I have my Trump toilet paper. Paul suggested that I sell 3 sheets of this at a time for $10. It's pretty funny. Anyway. It does. It actually makes me feel very sad to see that the answer is not individualism and buying up shit and going crazy, but the answer is actually loving each other and helping each other out when we need it. Anyway, I cried over toilet paper. I'm going to go wipe my face with this thing. I'm going to go do some work. And I hope if you're Australian and you're watching this, or even if you're American and watching this, look at how you see the world. Do you see your neighbours as enemies? Or do you see them as potential friends and potential allies? Okay, and that's not glossing over some of the political stuff. We're always going to need government. We're always going to need law. We're always going to have, fights and all that sort of stuff. But, we can't continue this way and remain human. All right? This is actually, this stuff does actually strike to the heart of who we are as people and as a nation, and whether we see ourselves as us, as me versus them. And I know I make jokes, right, about that. But at the end of the day, we're in this together. We've got a short time on this planet together. And I would hope that if this goes to shit and we do all end up sick, that we will help each other out. And you can come to my house and you can have some soup if you want. Break bread and all of that, okay? Face it together. Let's not drive us apart, because that's how capitalism works. Capitalism works to drive and divide and turn us into consumers. Don't let them do it, okay? And also, and that applies to other things like cancel culture. It applies across the board, all right? If you're one of those people that's seeing people as the enemy when there are real problems to solve, you're not being very productive, and you're part of the problem. Thank you for watching. I love you. Thank you for your precious last seconds. If you have done this thing, it's got no fucking structure at all to it, but I have to go. Love each other. Take care. Wash your fucking hands, okay? And I hope that your toilet paper forts give you some comfort in loneliness. Anyway, I love you. Bye.